What's up, guys? We are back at it. Mike Cuddles, episode 35. Dave and Auken to my left, the Savage, Gillian the Savage Robertson. What's up, G?
What's up? It's been a while since we
I
talked.
know, I know. I think 3 weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks. So we're
Yeah,
back.
I feel like I don't know. Obviously, a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks since we talked. Obviously, I didn't perform like I wish I would have in my last fight, and I feel like honestly, I've just kind of fallen off grid completely since then.
I've seen like 3 Instagram stories from you. I've seen a couple. Like that was it. So I'm like, yeah. I feel you. I feel you. But how life been all right? Yeah, other than that and all that nature, how's everything been going?
I guess I'm just in like I don't know. We were talking about it a little off air. I'm in a weird place with fights right now and fighting in general, where I haven't had a loss that's hit me this hard emotionally and
Yeah,
I feel like a long time. And I think it's just because of I know how much I've been putting into it lately. I know
right.
how much that I've really been just like trying my hardest, doing everything I need to. Like I felt like during the Pierre camp we just found like the perfect blueprint for what I need in a fight camp. We found where I need to go. And then for the Tabitha camp, we just kind of rushed it all way too much. And
Right.
obviously, outside stressors, other things happen where it's just like nothing in camp seemed to go my way. And I feel like by fight night, it was just it was the same as how camp went. I wasn't there. I didn't show up, and yeah, it's just been really frustrating loss for me.
Okay. So like talking to you, on this show and then off air about it. When is that fine line? And dude, the nickname aside, I know you and I always tell everyone this about you. Like anyone that kind of like because it's so funny because even like fight week comes and like when people like even strangers come up to me and they know me as like you like anytime someone comes up to me like I literally in Vegas someone will come up to me like they're like oh like how's Julian like they will ask me a question about you and it's like okay, I'll take that. Like I'm the Jillian guy. That's awesome. Like she's my friend. Like that's cool. And when is that fine line of like I knew it from afar, like it was close of like, man, fuck it. Should you pull out of this fight? Like it was close and all the emotions and everything. With the loss of your puppy and like, dude, I know how much and like some people know how like some people understand like that's like it's a child like that like no one under some people understand like how close of Rob was to you as like a child is to another person like how me like how close like my twin girls are to me, right? So like when that happens like not to try like apples and oranges when a family member would lost to another fighter like they would probably pull out of the fight. Did that ever tinge your mind? Did a coach ever talk to you about it? Like, hey, gee, like maybe we should really. We love the matchup. We love how it's in Florida. We talked about that a lot. Like, did that ever come to you? Like, hey, maybe we should really skip this one right now.
Uh, so a little bit like behind the scenes, I feel like this whole fight camp, it was kind of like that for me mentally, where I'm like, I knew I was in a terrible place. I knew that I was
Right.
so burnt out from the Pierre camp too that, like I said, this one we jumped in too quick, we rushed it too fast, and I want to say like it was an 8-week camp, and about 4 weeks in, I had a complete mental breakdown
Right.
where I'm like, I left sparring sobbing. I was, that's when the question was kind of proposed. I don't know. Honestly, obviously looking back, it's like hindsight's 2020. I feel like I wish I did. I want to say I wish I was brave enough to pull myself out then, because I knew that I needed to be pulled, but the fighter in me when it like I can't pull myself from a fight. I can't step down. I can't back away from that moment. So it's like in my mind, it was too late. Like we just got to do everything we can to make this moment happen, and I was just pushing myself, and like I said, trying to do everything as right as possible. But in my mind, I knew like how I felt physically. I knew where I was mentally, and I
Right.
knew that I wasn't ready. Like I wasn't ready to finish up the camp the way we needed to, or ready to push the pace the way we needed to win this fight. So I feel like I don't know, obviously talking to a lot of people about this fight, if anything, that's what I learned the most out of this loss, is that I know me and I need to listen to me and do what's right for me.
in that moment, would you like, of course, and like playing hindsight, and it's one of those things. It sucks and whatever. Hey, you would have caught her in the first round, and it's like, hey, whatever, and it is what it is. Would you have wished like a coach or a teammate or a friend would have been like, hey, G, like, dude, maybe we should, this is a lot. Like, maybe we should back off of this one. Have you ever pulled out of a UFC fight other than that Miranda Maverick sick one of the day of?
No, I've never pulled out like you said with Miranda Maverick. I was literally like had food poisoning the morning of until my showtime was like 12 o'clock and I was puking until that time. So I'm like, that's when we pulled out of the fight. Right. So I it's just not in me to pull out. And obviously it's hard to put a coach or a training partner in that position as well. Or they also know me as a fighter. They know that I want this more than anything else. So they don't want to pull me from it. And also it's just a lot of their self-belief in me. They think that I'm capable of anything just because they do believe in me that much. Right. So they're like, it doesn't matter if she's run down. It doesn't matter if she feels like shit. She's still going to go in there and beat this girl. Whereas like, if anything, that's, like I said, these are the learning processes that came out of this loss as much as it sucks.
For sure. It's funny because we said like how you've been off of socials for, a couple weeks and all that nature. But one of the socials I did see from you was actually Miranda was down there in South Florida. Was she training at the GOAT just as a little bit, or was she down there for like a seminar or something?
Yeah, she had a couple seminars she was teaching. So she just came down for like 2 or 3 days, came through and trained. I haven't, like, I've been in and out of the gym. This is actually the longest period I have not trained in 12 years.
Wow.
So
okay, right now, do you feel like, do you feel good right now? Like in a little bit, in a weird way, you're like, holy shit, this isn't hey, I haven't been kicked in my leg. Cause you always send like, your Instagram stories, you're on the beach and you always show your legs and they're always like beat up and stuff. Like, does your body feel really good right now?
No, not right now. I feel like physically I'm still just recovering from, I was in a fight camp for 6 months straight.
Yeah.
So it's my body was just so broken down from that time. So it's like yesterday I went to the doctor and now I'm scheduled for 4 MRIs this week. So we're going to figure out what's wrong and what's going on. But I feel like physically I don't feel great yet. And mentally it's just such a stress for me to be away. And it's like, I feel like that's really been like the whole mental battle of these last couple weeks for me is I haven't felt that like usually I go back to training because I want to, because I love training, because I want to be there. And I haven't felt that love and that passion these last couple weeks. I've just been like battling that. I told you, I'm like, I haven't watched fights. I haven't been around fighting. Like, I just don't want to think about that world. And I feel like I'm slowly getting back into it, but it's just been a real process for me after this loss is to fall back in love with this sport.
Right. Crazy. Well, like, it's anything that you love so much, like it's such a fine line of like a love-hate relationship, anything, right? And that almost kind of like doubles down of how much you love the sport of, because like it means so much to you. That's why you're like, it hurts so much, you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds whatever, but okay, so then with more of the GOAT stuff, Prado looked amazing, got an awesome win against a veteran just a couple of nights ago against at UFC Vegas 77. So that's one. I know you probably didn't watch a lot of it, but the post that your gym made, I don't know if like you were aware of it or you were there. Okay, you were laughing, so you know something of it. Was the gym rated of the same day, close to I know you have to have something for us.
I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to talk about. We just had an issue with someone at the gym where the police needed to be called. So
did they have to put their shoes on the mat? Did they need to do that? Gee,
that's probably the worst part about that video, isn't it?
Right.
But yeah, so Awesome, of course, in his great marketing mind, decided to use that as Francisco's fight video. Which Francisco is just something very special. I'm 20 years old, 12-1 now at this point. Just finished that fight with a beautiful spinning back elbow. Like, it's really gonna be something to watch him. And like I said, 20 years old. Like, it's crazy how you even have that many pro fights at that age.
How? That's
exactly.
Insane. That's
I'm like, I
insane.
need to see this birth certificate. Make sure that we're, because I don't get it.
He's like 33 years old, really.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. And he looks so good. And being on that high level of a card, that's awesome. Did you see or hear anything of the main event? Two high level females, Buna Silva being training that American top team, defeated a little ninja choke to Holly Holm. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the finish of that either. I know that. So obviously, Myra Buena Silva and I have our past. We fought. She beat me.
I didn't know. I didn't know that actually.
Yeah. She was right after Molly McCann. I accepted a fight on 3 weeks' notice against Myra Buena Silva in Sao Paulo. So, she finished. It was it the ninja choke from like single leg? Because she finished that one on the Contender Series, so that's why I'm asking, because I was studying that whenever I fought her.
So it was funny. It wasn't single leg. So like what Holly Holm, it's so funny because remember like Holly Holm 12 years ago was like this amazing boxer, kickboxer. Like that's what she was. And then even like the last 3 years, she became this like clinch. Like she kind of like charges really quick and then holds you against the clinch. So she won. A lot of people think Holly won the first round. She did the same thing. Like she would rush Silva and like put her head in the clinch. And that's what she did to Silva literally 30 seconds into the round. And literally what Silva did, like she just like let herself into the clinch and then like ninja choked her this way. And Holly didn't have any part of her. Like, and all of a sudden, like Silva just had her too late. And like as soon as like Holm knew it, it was just too late. And she tapped like
yeah, it sounds like it's the exact same choke she got on the Contender Series as well. So it's probably something that she's like, it's kind of her specialty. It's her thing, right. You know? I just remember really looking out for that choke. Like, that was our biggest work in the 3-week camp that we had for her. That was the thing that we were like, all right, we need to watch out. Like, if we're shooting singles, if we're in the clinch, like that she likes to go for this. So I'm like, it's amazing to see her being able to finish that on someone of Holly Holm's caliber. And it's awesome also, like, just to see somebody you fought being able to climb the ranks like that, you know?
She's ranked the number 3 bantamweight fighter in the world. A lot of people think she's gonna get the title fight against if it's Pennington or Juliana Pena. It's wild, and your last fight was in strawweight. So like, how crazy is that? She's fighting. She might fight for the bantamweight championship of the world, and you're a strawweight. It's so wild. Like,
yeah, just to see where your lives go, see where the careers head, and like I said, it's awesome to see whenever like girls that you fought are doing good. Like, I know we've referenced it before with, like, I fought Cheyenne Blissmas on the amateur scene. And now to see her in the UFC, she's pregnant now. So congrats to her, too, with her little belly that's looking adorable. But just to see, like, girls that is, like, I've fought over the years or, I don't know. It's such a small world, you know?
It is, for sure. Like, same kind of thing. I was out there in Vegas, and I saw so many people – not even from like just literally people that when I got into the spacer scene 5, 6, 7 years ago, and like whatever regional shows from Pensacola or Orlando or down south in Florida. And like, these are the people that are fighting now in the UFC or kind of just in the same space. And it's wild to see like we all rise. Like if you just kind of stick with it and if you're passionate about it, or if you just kind of stay the spot, it's wild where we all end up. It's so cool. You go.
I was just going to say, even the card that I was on, the amount of like Florida fighters that were on it. It's like it is really such a small world, and all the people that you run into on the amateur scene constantly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy when you start seeing them at this level.
You and I commentated on SD Dumas's fight. He fights like literally 3 fights before you and wins on the same UFC card. Like, how circle is that?
Even he used to ref for Combat Night, and I don't know if he still does. Larry Folsom.
Yeah.
He raised my hand for my first ever fight when I was 18 years old, and then walking into the cage, he was the one who patted me down this time. So wild. I'm like, it's just even cool to see him. I'm like, oh, like we're on the big stage together.
Yeah, that's so cool. It was crazy. It was so cool being there. It was a roller coaster day. Like people had no idea. Like, and I like, you know how much like like I said, I swear to you, I'm in Las Vegas and people are coming to me and they're like, you're the Jillian guy. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yes, I guess. Yes, that's cool. And it's like, and I was happy for SD. Yeah, Phil Rowe was on the card. I love me some Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen had a great performance. But yeah, it was such a I was like emotional dump after your fight. I was just like, it was a roller coaster. I was like myself, like a little piece of me died that day a little bit. It was just, it was emotional for sure. I had something else. Oh, this weekend, Molly McCann fights UFC London's this weekend. In the last couple of weeks, since we haven't been on air, Hannah Goldie's got a fight. She's fighting in August. It's wild. It's just like, it doesn't stop. Like, this MMA world does not stop for sure. It's crazy.
It's crazy to me how close August is right now. You just saying Molly fighting it this week. Yes. I'm like, oh crap! Like, this is half the year gone
already. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. So, and I know it's one of those things. It's quick. And I know probably where you're at. Maybe you can't even answer this, but maybe you do have an answer in the back of your head. Do you think you want to be like, yeah, Dave, I want to take the rest of 2023 off. I want to train and just take another month off mentally or physically, and then just kind of get back into it. And I would love an early date, February or January. Do you want to take 2023 off?
Definitely not.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I would like November, December. I'm not trying to rush back into it. Like, right. I'm not trying to get there right now. So, I would definitely like a little bit of time, but, I would like something like before the end of the year. It'd be nice. I feel like I would have enough time to get my body in the shape that it needs to be.
Okay, cool. All right. I like that answer. That was a good answer. I like that. Okay. Another fun thing for you, because I know maybe you've talked to some of the boys there at the gym. I think there's 2 or even 3 names that Friday, September 8th, Jacksonville, Florida, Gamebred, Bare Knuckle. God, your smile says everything right now. It's going to be crazy. Junior Dos Santos and Mauricio Verdum is in the main event. It was so cool. So Masvidal and Dean Toole had the brilliant idea to have the press conference International Fight Week in Las Vegas. And not even that, how cool was it that literally after the weigh-ins, right across the street from the T-Mobile was this hotel. We had the press conference. It was awesome. It was packed. ESPN was there. Mac Life, MMA Fighting, GQ was there. It was so cool. And we had this awesome press conference. It went really well. And I know a lot of the GOAT boys are on this card. Are you allowed to say anything? Do you know how many guys are fighting? I think there's 2 or 3, right?
Actually, I'm not sure. I'm more excited about the main event than anything else.
Okay. Isn't that insane? Dos Santos versus Verdum.
Gonna be absolutely insane.
Bare Knuckle.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, when I saw that announced, like, I had to take a screenshot of it and send it to a couple people. I'm like, that is gonna be absolutely insane. Yeah. I didn't know any of the Goat Shed boys were, like, it's been crazy these last couple weeks with I haven't really been training too much, and then my coach Awesome has been gone all last week with Francisco. So it's like we've been in and out of seeing each other, haven't really gotten a chance. So I didn't know so many boys were going to be on that, but it's such a dope show. Such a dope, it's such a cool setup, such a cool idea to be able to do bare knuckle MMA. Definitely not something you'll ever see me in, but a cool thing.
You say that you would be so damn good at it, because talking to some of the guys that have done it, or the girls that have done it already, G, like, they say it's so much easier to grapple because there's no gloves, there's nothing on you, like, what you are. Like, I could just see you like you're a musician, just you'll be like grabbing girls and just yanking them apart. You would just be dominating them.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a grappler's world. I agree 100%, but I'm like, I don't like, people's heads are hard, and I like my hands, so I'm not trying to break my hands on somebody's head.
True. And then I just between you and me, and I'm gonna pause this. No, I'm not really, but I see some of the paychecks. Holy shit! Oh my god, there's a we call it Gamebred money in the industry. Gee whiz.
Yeah, no, I'm like, it's definitely some good paydays for. It's what MMA fighters deserve, but for doing bare knuckle MMA, like, it's what really, like, for low level fighters, that's what they deserve, is like, it's good paychecks.
Yeah, it is. And like, when it's awesome because yeah, of course I have some really cool connections, and then not even that. It was funny because Dean called me a couple of days before. He's like, "Hey, can you make it out there to Vegas? The weekend." Long story short, there was an island fights in Biloxi that Saturday, and that I was planning to do that, and so was the whole island fights team. And he's like, "Hey, we're gonna do something really cool in Vegas the night before." I'm like, "What are we doing?" He's like, "Hey, we want you to host the press conference." I'm like, "Dude, I'm in. Sounds good." And then they're like, "Hey, we want you to do this more often. Like, we're gonna have you like host more stuff for Gamebred and like do the in-ring stuff. I need to learn more of the last names a little bit better, and so you guys don't have to tease me beforehand." But like to kind of just do a lot more Gamebred stuff. I'm like, "Dude, I love this. This sounds awesome." And then like he always sends me kind of pictures of what he's thinking or some of the names. I'm like, holy crap. Like there are some names that he's like thinking about in the future. The next month, so September's in Jacksonville, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but I think there's 3 or 2 really high level young MMA fighters. Maybe it rhymes with Bon and maybe rhymes with DJ. Maybe that might be fighting on that card. I'm not too sure. But the next month, they're fighting in London. Like, how cool is that? Fighting in London. That's going to be an insane card. A couple free agents that are high level mixed martial artists from London. I think people out there can do the math on their own, are probably going to be main event in that card. So it's like they got a really, really good thing happening there for Gamebred Bare Knuckles. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, and just like you said, such a dope roster. So it's so awesome to see the level of fighting that they do have.
Crazy. All right. Well, we'll let it roll. I guess the last thing, I'm trying to think what else we missed the last couple of weeks, but I think we got it. I think. I guess the last thing, I don't know if you're watching it at all. You said you've kind of been away from the fights. Are you watching the Ultimate Fighter show at all, or not really?
No, but I'm like following it enough to know that Connor is not doing well.
Not doing well.
Oh.
Not doing well.
Oh,
And
it's just
and like
I feel like it was such a bad idea. It was just such a poor setup, taking UFC veterans versus people who are just up and comers. I'm like, because those up and comers, probably at least one, like if they had a tough house of those guys, one of those guys can be a low-level UFC fighter right now and build his way up, and one of them probably deserves the shot, but none of them are going to get the shot because these guys just have the experience walking in there.
Right.
Just the fact that you've worn UFC gloves 2, 3, 4 times before, this isn't your first time, you're not like starstruck, makes such a huge difference for you.
For sure. And like, especially too, like I think you nailed it, G, with the starstruck thing. Your coaches are Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. Dana White's really part of it. It's on ESPN. I just think like all the lights are bright. It's not even like, it's not low key at all. It's super bright. And it's just, and like, I've been watching it because I don't want to say I have to, but I do, it's what I do. And I don't even think it's not even like a Connor thing. Of course, everyone on socials, it's just like the fun thing to do right now is to bash Connor. He's not even doing a horrible job coaching. It is what it is. Like, imagine, G, if you coached the Fusion team and if you had Phil and Julian and Hannah and Val Woodburn, right, or whatever, and I got, the Daytona team and I got 4, less names, like, you're going to win. Like, you just have higher level mixed martial artists than I do. It's just, it is what it is. Like, it's crazy. It's like, it's tough. And it looks like it's going to go 8-0. And then I don't know what they're going to do. Like I would assume they have to break the teams up now.
Yeah, because I guess I never really thought about like the next step, because it's like, do you just like, let's completely eliminate Connor from the show?
They could, but then if they do that, then the show's dead. Like the show, like I hate to say this, that the show is it's on ESPN because Conor McGregor is the coach. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. So it's like it is a really tricky situation. I feel like all around it was just a poor move by the UFC to even set it up like this. Like they should know better.
Yeah, they almost should have took the picking out of the coaches and Dana White should have said, "Hey, these 2 guys are on your team. These 2 guys are on your team," and try to like make it even. Like,
well, like even I feel like whenever they should really do that. They should let the coaches pick like even my season. I'm like, we were seeded. So I was like the number 16 girl going against the number 2 girl. So it kind of ended up being how the situation is now, where I was a 3-2 girl, like not a lot of experience coming in the house, going against the Invicta champion, the vet, she was, I think, 10-2 or 12-2 at the time, something like that, where it was like just so much experience versus just, I wanted it and I was coming in, but it was just, you can't really compete with that kind of experience.
Jeez. I totally forgot you fought Buna Silva. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm like probably like my 3rd fight in the UFC. It's okay, we can forget about that one.
I already did. Gee whiz. All right, Gillian the Savage Robertson back at it. Mike Cuddles, episode 35. We'll talk to everyone later next week. Later, G.